Despair is not a strategy.
Every moment is a teachable moment.
Okay, so what do I mean by that? Despair is not a strategy. Well, I've been reading the forums as of late, and I got involved in a thread that was talking about people were frustrated that they weren't getting work, and so they were asking about, maybe they weren't quoting the proper price, and should they bring their price down so that they could get the work, in terms of what should that price be and how should they communicate this to the client. So the reason why I say despair is not a strategy is that, number one, when you're fortunate enough to actually be able to have an interaction with a potential client who has reached out to you or you've reached out to them and they've expressed an interest in having you voice something for them, you want to make sure that you're not acting out of desperation. A lot of times during the negotiation process, this can almost happen if you really want that job and you keep bringing your price down in order to try to secure the job that you want with your client. In typical negotiation tactics, you want to make sure that you're always finding out what the client budget is. And if that client budget doesn't align with the budget that you have, in your head, or the budget that kind of goes along with standard fair rates, I would ask you to strongly consider saying no. And if you are in the process of negotiating a price with that client, I've been known to lower my price when the client says, they'll ask me for a price. I'll say, here's my price. And let's say, well, that's not really in my budget. Before I've actually created that price, I've asked if they would let me know what their budget is. And then if they did not tell me, I will give them a number. And then if they mention that might not be within their budget, I will then start possibly to negotiate. If I feel like the client, it could, bring more return later on down the road, or if I could get more additional work with them. Typically, this is not necessarily what I would charge or what I would accept as a fair rate. And I try to stick to that, because if you will start to bring your price down too much, then it starts to look a little desperate to the client. And for me, I know that if something goes on sale, and it goes on sale like substantially lower cost than it originally priced itself, I'm going to wonder, wow, what is the markup on this anyway? And wow, have they been fooling me all this time? And have I been spending way too much money for this particular product all along? And so it might make me rethink buying that product again, or buying that product in the first place. Keep in mind that if you have a great rate schedule, and a great rate guide to start with is the one from the GVAA, or Gravy for the Brain has one, but get yourself in the market space of this is what it costs for this particular type of voiceover work, and then set your rate schedule based on that, and try not to vary too much from that, because if you do, it's going to tell the client that you weren't really serious about that in the first place. So make sure that you are quoting yourself within the GVAA rate guide, or somewhere within the vicinity that is fairly compensating for you, and that you're not making concessions that are way lower than what you would normally adhere to, because that gives a different look to the client. And the client may consider that from now on, if you were able to, half your price this time, well, then they're going to take advantage of that, or they may ask you to continually use that rate. And that's up to you. If you feel that that is something you can work with, and that you will get more work, and that's going to work for your business, then absolutely go ahead and do that. But just know that you want to always appear to be confident in your capabilities and sure in your rate structure, so that you demonstrate to the client that you are worth that rate. For more business tips, make sure to check out my videos here. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.